Welcome everyone to our webinar on navigating the seas, contemporary, premium, and luxury cruising. This is our fifth monthly webinar as we seek to share our love of travel and knowledge of the world with you. My name is Ron Montgomery, and my business Spirit of Travel specializes in discovering what travelers are really after on their holiday, their aspirations, motivations, and pet peeves. Then we design an exceptional journey for them. And sometimes this journey is custom built from the ground up, but often it's finding the right pre-existing tour, trek, cruise, and bringing it all together. There are quite a few misconceptions of what cruising is like. It's my impression and experience that a significant amount of travelers who haven't cruised before believe that cruising is all what our industry classify as contemporary cruising. So it's all just kind of the same. Because of this, there are those that are interested in the big ship, many people, theme park type cruise experience. They know what they're getting into, and they certainly enjoy their time there. But for those that are looking for something different, they don't realize how expansive and how different the industry actually is and the opportunities are. So for over a decade, I have been helping clients choose the right cruise line for them. And I can confidently say that more than any other single category of travel, cruising is by far the most diverse. It's so diverse, in fact, that even within a particular cruise company, the experience is different ship to ship as they are continually evolving as they bring a new ship out, the newest technology, the newest elements, and consideration from feedback from clients that are experiencing that. So today we're joined by Megan and Tracey. Now, Megan is the New Zealand representative for Norwegian Cruise Lines, which is the contemporary cruising category, although you'll see that Norwegian Cruise Lines is certainly in the upper tier of that category. As a strong contrast, way on the other side, we have Tracey from Regent Seven Seas, one of the finest cruise lines in the world. This cruise style is a very different experience, and Tracey will do what she does well in explaining that. Now, we were supposed to have somebody to represent the premium category from Oceania, but unfortunately that did fall over last week. However, I think that we're still going to be able to get a really good idea of having the two polar opposite categories. So it'll give us a really good contrast and help to dispel the illusion that all cruising is the same. I would also like to mention that back in April, I did host another webinar on expedition cruising, which again is very, very different. So it is on my YouTube channel. So I guess, Megan, why don't you take over?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ron, for having us along today. I'm just going to jump in and share the screen and we'll get started. Awesome. So, NCL, Norwegian Cruise Lines. I'm going to open up with a little video to give you an insight to our brand, and then we'll take a look through our onboard experience and also some of our itineraries, but also what sets us apart in that contemporary large ship cruise styles.
When you holiday with Norwegian Cruise Line, every day is a new day.
The rest of my life gonna start today. So as Ron mentioned, we are large ships, but there is truly something for everybody on board. And that's why it's so important to find the right ship within these fleets that matches your reasons for traveling and the experiences that you want, both shoreside and on board. The great thing is with NCL is it's all about the freedom and flexibility. It's about having things organized but not regimented, open dining times, so there's no fixed dining times, no rushing around to get all dressed up and glammed up for formal nights. And saying that if you want to, you absolutely can. It just means for our gentlemen especially, no suits, no ties, no tuxes. Our destinations is probably a core difference that sets us apart from other large ships. We are limited in our size for where we can go and call, But because we've got different sizes within our fleet, our smaller ships can be more destination heavy. They will have some smaller, unique ports of call. But it's also our overnights, and something that we've really started hearing from our guest feedback is wanting more time in ports when it comes to cruise. So we've been able to maximise that with some overnight destinations and longer stays in port. We'll have a look at some of those itineraries further in. But then we've also got our free at sea, and this is about bringing value to you on board. So with cruise, there is a variation of what's included, and that's something that you have to be aware of and look into because it will affect that value and that experience on board. So we have a range of inclusions there to make it a more inclusive experience. And then it's all of that onboard focus from the onboard activities, the wining and dining, and the cabin selections that you've got to choose from though as well. Now, cruise, for those that haven't cruised before, it can be very much like a land-based holiday, but the difference is you get to try a lot in that small amount of time. So a cruise can be a great way to reposition yourself from one space to the next, and have land either side of that, because you wake up somewhere new in a new destination rather than limiting your experience to the one space. And Hawaii is a perfect opportunity to compare this. So a flop and drop holiday in Hawaii, you want to get out and do the outer islands as well. You don't want to just be based on the main island. The value of cruise, you cannot island hop now for the same price. And it's looking at those inclusions and those extra costs that you incur on a land-based holiday versus what's included with a cruise holiday. Now, free at sea is that always on that gives you that more inclusive. So included in your cruise fares, you've always got your stateroom, you've got a range of complimentary meals, you've got a range of entertainment and activities throughout the ship. But then things like your beverages can often be an additional cost. So included in your fare, you have the free at sea package, which gives you a beverage package, beer, wine, cocktails, up to $15 a glass. You've got a specialty dining package, which is the additional dinings, often themed, but have a surcharge involved with them. You get 1 to 3 dinings included there. You've got a shore excursion credit. So for those tours that you do ashore, you've got a credit towards those. That's per excursion per port. So in those overnights, if you can fit 2 or 3 ports and excursions in there, you'll get $50 off each, which is great. A Wi-Fi package, because we all like to be connected now and make sure we're sending pictures home to show family and friends what we're doing and where we're exploring. And then, of course, if we're sailing as a multi-generational family, then you've got reduced rates for those third and fourths in those cabins. And that's the great thing with NCL is because of that onboard experience, those large ships, there is something for everyone. So the bigger ships are great for multi-generationals and our active relaxers. Our smaller ships have a little bit more of a quiet, more relaxed atmosphere and a bigger focus on our destination. And so
Megan,
what we do here,
may I just
sorry,
interject
yep,
with,
sure.
may I just interject with one comment as well? Just for anybody looking at the inclusions that were listed before, in the contemporary category, drinks packages included are actually not the norm. So it is so generally when looking at contemporary, it is something that is added on later and needs to be factored into the price comparison. So that is something that Norwegian has taken on board, which is quite a saving for those that like to have some drinks during the day. So sorry, I just because we want to make sure that we put an understanding of what contemporary generally is. I wanted to say that's an exceptional element that you're bringing in. Back to you.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate that. So we break our ships into classes. So our ships range from 2,000 passengers with our Norwegian Spirit, Sun, and Dawn class. These are our smaller ships. You don't have the big bells and whistles. They don't have water slides and mini golfs. Instead, the focus there is on the dining, the entertainment, and that shoreside experience. Pride of America and our dual class sit around 2,500 passengers. And you get a bit of a balance of both there, but very much a destinational focus. Our Epic, Breakaway, and Prima class are our 3,000 and 4,000 passenger ships. And for our active relaxers, if you like a lot of atmosphere, if you like multiple venues for entertainment, these are the ships for you. Again, if you're traveling as a family, there is something for everyone. The kids can be on the go-karts, Nana and Granddad can be in the adults only area, and Mum and Dad can be doing a margarita tasting at one of the margarita bars on board the ship. When it comes to the onboard dining experience, We do things a little bit differently. Instead of having one main tiered dining room that could service up to 3,000 people all at one time, we have 2 to 3 smaller main dining rooms. They are complementary. The menus are the same throughout each restaurant, but the decor and the atmosphere is slightly different. Um, it creates a more intimate atmosphere, and you find what I found personally on board, service levels were higher because the staff weren't trying to service 20 tables all at once. They were more focused on you and could have conversation with you. But also food quality was higher as well for the same reason. They weren't trying to service 3,000 meals all at once. Each restaurant has its own galley and it's coming direct from there to your table. So it's nice and hot. And then you've got another range of whether it's buffet restaurants, the local, which is more of your pub grubs, your pool grills. You've got a huge range of complementary options and variations there. I will point out that Indulge is our buffet on our newest ships. And rather than being a self-service buffet, it's more of a marketplace. So you've got lots of little mini restaurants in that one space. You can choose to order from one, or you can choose to order from many and have a taster throughout. Our specialty restaurants are those themed restaurants. They are smaller, they're intimate, they're your teppanyakis, your Cagney's is our steakhouse, for example. You've got a Italian restaurant, you've got French dining, you've got up to 9 different specialty restaurants on board the ships. Now, we mentioned earlier that these often have a surcharge with them, and it ranges anything from an a la carte priced menu to a $50 per person cover charge. With that dining package, you're getting 1 to 3 of these specialty dinings included. So you've got the opportunity to taste these different flavors there. And then what do we do on board? That depends on what you like to do on board. If you like to chill out and wind down, there are perfect spaces, plenty of open pool decks. You've got the infinity pools off the edge of the ship. You've got adults only areas on every single one of our ships. You've got the Mandara spas, which is where you'll find our thermal suites. You've got these heated tiled beds, panoramic views, perfect place to unwind after a busy port day. And then our Prima ship, we changed things up slightly again. So everyone has, especially in the contemporary range, you've got your pool decks. They're generally the Lido deck, deck 12 and above. And the one thing in all my years of cruising I hadn't really thought about was when you're sitting around the pool deck, as you can see in that image there, you're all facing in, looking at each other. And the views of the horizon are out behind you. So what we've done on deck 8, which is our ocean view promenade on our Prima class, we've extended that deck, we've widened it out, we've put infinity pools off each side of the ship, but it's also opened the space with beautiful big deck chairs. You've got double-bedded cabanas down there, and you've got views out to the horizon, which when you're cruising leaving port is a beautiful place to be, and watching the ports go by, especially on those sunny days in Europe like you're experiencing at the moment, Ron. If you're active and you like a bit of fun or you're a big kid at heart, our bigger ships is where you'll find the likes of our go-karts. So you can have a bit of family fun competition on those. They're electric go-karts on a 400-meter track. You've got things like the high ropes, the water slides. Most of these experiences are complimentary. There are some that will have a small surcharge on board, but still better than anything you can do shoreside as well. And then you've got the entertainment, and this is what I love about cruising. Every night you have a full theatre production show. It's a combination of either our in-house production crew or our Broadway shows. So we've got the actual Broadway musicals, the likes of Burn the Floor, Donna Summer the Musical, Choir of Man on board. And then you've also got guest entertainers that will come on throughout the ship's sailings there as well, that will be local generally to the ports of call that we're visiting at the time. And then you've got a range of for example, the meals with entertainments, where you can have dinner and a show under the big top. You've got live comedy acts on board. You've got such a range of genre of music in there as well. So depending on what you like to listen to will depend on those areas that you gravitate to. And that's one of the great things about a big ship is you've just got so much choice on board. Whether you want to sit in the wine bar, have a nice glass of wine and listen to a little piano man in the atrium with a little 3-piece band, or whether you're boogieing away under the stars with some live music. When it comes to accommodations on board, again, something for everybody, from our suites and our family rooms, which can be up to 3 bedrooms. The best part about that is you've got 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a separate living space. So there is room for everybody on board. And it can work out more cost effective than taking 2 or 3 side-by-side cabins. So it's always worth doing the comparison. But again, that's what our amazing agents like Ron are for, and they'll help work you through that process. All of our ships have suites, but 9 of our ships have the Haven class. And the Haven class, the suites give you the priority add-ons, the butler service, the concierge, all the bells and whistles there. But the Haven class gives you your own exclusive sun deck and pool deck, your own restaurant, and your own lounge area as well. So you've still got full use of the rest of the ship, but if you only want to be in this space, this is exclusive to our Haven class guests. Great that if you've cruised with Regent before and you're taking the whole family away, this could be an option for you with NCL. Majority of what we see booked out in New Zealand, though, is our balcony rooms. Nice and spacious, nice and open. You've got interconnectings as well in there as well if you want to, or you've got triples and quads for our family space. The other thing that sets us apart from most contemporary cruise lines is our solo cabins. When it comes to cruising solo, often we find that you can be, there is a single supplement, which can be about 150% plus. We have solo studio cabins for insides, ocean views, and balconies, which are designed exclusively for the solo traveller, which means there's no single supplement. And the great thing is it gives you access to this amazing space called the Studio Lounge. It gives you a space to meet like-minded travellers, but there's also a concierge base down here. So if you wanted to go to try one of the specialty dinners, for example, teppanyaki, but you didn't want to go on your own, you can go down to the concierge in the space, say you'd really like to go to teppanyaki, can you see if anyone wants to join me? They will put it out to the studio rooms, get together a group, make a booking for you, and before you know it, you're having dinner with 4 or 5 other like-minded travellers. But here's the nitty-gritty. Where do we travel and what do we do? So we are a worldwide global cruise line. We travel seasonally in each of these areas. So we move through the regions on a seasonal basis. We do have a handful of sailings close to home, but our biggest market right now is definitely the Mediterranean and Europe. And Greek Isles have been popping up for us left, right, and centre at the moment. You've got a variation of 7 to 10 day sailings through the Greek Isles. You've got one ways and you've got returns from Athens. You've also got arranged through the Spanish Med and Northern Europe, which is becoming quite popular if you've done a lot of the Mediterranean, want to get back to Europe and do something a little bit different.
Before you change the screen there, I just wanted to mention, if you go back, this one here, that in next month, I will actually be on that 11-day Northern Europe myself. And so I will be recording and creating a video sort of with my experience and what I'm seeing, experiencing that. So so again, it'll be on the YouTube channel. So it'll be something to check out in October.
I really look forward to hearing your experience there too, Ron. I think it's going to be a great trip. Alaska is another one of our growing markets. We've got 5 ships in Alaska. We can go Seattle return and a variation on those itineraries there. You've also got our one-way tours from Vancouver up to Whittier. And then from Whittier, you can add on the land portion, which brings in Denali, Talkeetna, Anchorage. And you can do anything from 2 to 7 nights in that space. USA, with all those direct flights up to the US now from New Zealand, there's certainly opportunity there. If you're looking at going up to LA, why not add on a Mexican Riviera, have a bit of downtime and not have to drag that suitcase around. But we've also got some unique sailings from the likes of New Orleans doing that Southern Caribbean. And of course, the Panama Canal in that space is quite popular too. Oh, I skipped ahead there, sorry. Asia as well, we've got some awesome itineraries in Asia, and these are really port intensive. What we find with contemporary ships in Asia, generally these are short 3 to 7 night cruises, and the ships are usually quite large, so they're very limited on where they can go. The ships that we've put into Asia are smaller. We've got ships there year round through 2025, but we've got a range of sailings between Japan and the southeast, and you've also got departures from Bali, which is a little bit closer to home. So sailing from Bali, you can choose to sail Bali to Cairns, Bali to Singapore, but you've also got the Auckland Bali as a reposition there. We do spend a lot of time around New Zealand between December and March, and we touch on the South Pacific through April and August with these unique itineraries from Cairns to Lautoka, which have just been released in the last month or so. And I couldn't not talk about Hawaii. So we are the only cruise line who is based in Hawaii year round. So every Saturday there is a departure from Honolulu. Currently on sale to 2026. It's the one place we know we can always be. You get an overnight in Maui, you get an overnight in Kauai, so you get 2 full days to explore those islands. And then you also do Hilo and Kona on the Big Island as well. And the east and the west are so different from each other. One side's very, very volcanic, and the other side's very tropical and rainforest. And so some unique destinations, some unique overnights. And if you're worried about a big ship, don't let a big ship put you off. There is plenty of space for everyone. I've never found that it gets too crowded in any one area. And even though we've got those big ships with the big bells and whistles, the go-karts, the water slides, families only make up 20% of our market. So 80% of our market are couples aged 45 plus. And we find that if you're cruising in those peak holiday seasons in Europe, for example, yes, you might have more families on board, but you're still not overrun with families. So, like I said, still plenty of private spaces that you can sneak away to, read a book in the sun, and no queuing issues on board, which is great too. Otherwise, that's me. Thank you so much for listening. Ron, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then you can fire me any questions that might have popped up.
Yeah, lovely. I'd like to start off just a couple. There are questions, but also just maybe topics to expand on a bit. One of the elements that often comes up with clients is how does the load in and the load off work for a larger ship? What do you do? What are the steps to make it not feel like it's very congested and it takes a long time?
The one thing I will say is the Northern Hemisphere is well equipped for ships. So they've built the infrastructure to accommodate these large ships. So Prima, for example, has 4 to 6 gangways that will open up along the side. Depending on where your cabin is located, will depend on where you embark and disembark off that ship. That helps avoid any bottlenecks on board, helps keep the flow of people moving. When it comes to check-in, that's the busiest time. That's where it's really important to select your preferred check-in time as part of the online check-in process. And that means you're not going to find yourself in a crowded, overrun terminal when you're trying to embark the ship on day one. My one recommendation, though, would be on tender ports. Now, tender ports are often out of our control. This is where we can't physically tie the ship up to the dock. So we're running our little lifeboats to bring you across. But often they are operated by the ports themselves. And as a result, there can be a bit of a delay because if there's multiple ships in town and they're trying to divvy up their tenders between these big ships, the key to that is book a shore excursion. If you have a shore excursion booked, you've got priority off that ship. So you're guaranteed to get off early. So even if it's just a little half-day walking tour to get your bearings around the city and the port that you're in, and then you've still got plenty of time on your own, it just gives you that priority off.
Brian. Any questions from the crowd? You explained it quite well, but if there's anything else. The other question I had was going back, you mentioned with the dining rooms that they've split it into multiple. There's the main dining rooms. There's 3 of them to split the passenger load, and then at the same time there's a lot of little more niche elements that people can have as well. So there may be. It would depend on the ship, but there might be 8 to 10 different options that people could have. What other steps are generally taken to help it feel like, despite being on a big ship, to get away from that feeling of being in a very large space with a lot of people and necessarily crowded?
And I think that's the key, is having those smaller restaurants instead of one main tiered dining room that everyone's flowing into around those peak dining times. These restaurants all are spread out around the ship. So they're not in one space. You've got restaurants up on deck 8, you've got restaurants down on deck 5. And again, having their own entranceway as opposed to one main entrance over 2 or 3 levels helps divvy up that the load across the ship, I guess.
Lovely.
And the other key is making the reservations in those specialty restaurants, right? To pre-book those allows you to plan that time on board. So if you know that you want to be in that restaurant by 7 p.m., that allows you to get down, have dinner, and then go and see a show afterwards. Now, while you're having dinner, there's another show on as well for the early settings. So it again shifts the load, so people are dining at different times there.
Okay. So thank you again, Ron, for having Megan and I both present today. It's a pleasure to talk about Regent Seven Seas Cruises. So we're obviously the luxury end of NCLH. I thought I'd just play a little short video just to introduce your clients and viewers as to what Regent's about. Volume. Obviously, I don't specialise in IT, I specialise in selling cruises. So with Regent, one of our unique propositions is we've actually only got a small fleet. We have 6 ships in total. We've got our 3 sister ships, Seven Seas Grandeur, which we launched in November of last year, Splendor and Explorer. They take 754 guests. And we've got Voyager and Seven Seas Mariner, the twins, which takes 680, and Seven Seas Navigator, which just takes 490 guests. So for Regent, we're all about small ship, but ultimately giving clients as much space and freedom and comfort as possible. So if you actually filled Grandeur, like a lot of normal ships would, we would be able to take over 2,000 guests. But for us, a big part of our value proposition and being in the luxury market is actually being able to give clients plenty of space without compromise. Some of our key pillars which ultimately set us apart, but when it comes to talking about luxury, a lot of clients feel that it's more expensive, it's out of their market, but it's actually about the inclusiveness. So it's, giving people who want to be able to immerse more in destinations, they're wanting to have those ultimate Epicurean experiences. They want that personalised service. But as I said, also, they're wanting to have, additional space and experiences, on board ships, but they're not compromised because there's a lot of people. I often talk about, yes, we sit in the luxury space, but ultimately for us, it's about like-minded people. There is actually truly no status on board Regent, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. We are a brand that is what we call beyond all-inclusive. So one thing that in the luxury market, there's a lot of clients that, and brands that talk about being luxury, but they also have add-ons, additional expenses that you need to pay, whether it's specialty dining, things like that. But for us, it's including everything from specialty dining, from valet laundry. So if you're wanting to have your laundry done, whether you're sailing with us for 7 nights or 140-night world cruise, it's all included. It's also doing unlimited shore excursions. So that means that you can be as active as you like. With a lot of our itineraries now, we have very long days on board. So that means we might arrive early in the morning, we don't leave until late in the afternoon. So you can quite often do up to 2, if not 3 shore excursions on any given day. We also have additional land programs that we've got included across a number of our sailings. And there's also a lot of people nowadays who, in order to be able to go and travel and enjoy traveling, they need to still be plugged into the main. So all of our ships have got Starlink, which is all complimentary. So we've got unlimited Wi-Fi across all of our fleet. And then we also include a bonus offer for all of our clients that are in our concierge suites and above, which includes one night pre-cruise hotel accommodation and transfer from the hotel to the ship. And with this is fantastic value, especially if you're looking at maybe sailing out of Rome, where the port's not sort of 5 minutes, 10-minute drive from your hotel. You know, it could be on a good day, could be a good hour. On a bad day in traffic, could be 4 hours. So that in itself is really good value, but it also gives you the seamless service of your Regent experience. For us, it's also about giving you amazing public spaces and areas. So for everywhere that you enter, once you're on board the ship, this is our beautiful observation lounge on Seven Seas Granger. So all of our ships have got fantastic lounges where you can sit, different nooks and crannies all throughout the ship where you can just, sit, relax, have a chat, meet new friends. I love the observation lounge. We have trivia every afternoon. It's very competitive. And also from about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when we have happy hour. And that's when they also start making our beautiful signature cocktails. But otherwise, if you're cruising through the fjords, if you're in Alaska, it's also an amazing area to sit and enjoy the views. When it comes to our main restaurants, whether it's Compass Rose, which is our main restaurant on all of our ships, or specialty dining, again, we're always wanting to create a different genre, a different experience for all of our guests to enjoy. And that's one of the things that we really love to do. So when you're in Compass Rose on Granger, it feels like you're in sort of a medieval fairy tale, mystical forest. On board, you've also got unique experiences. So for us, it's not just about sailing to the destinations. We want clients to be able to enjoy it through the culinary experience as well. So we have a culinary kitchens on board Explorer, Splendor and Granger. So you can do culinary cooking classes, you can shop with the chef as well. Sea days, these are very popular. I actually sailed with my mum in January of last year, and she absolutely loved the culinary cooking classes. The chefs give you the recipes to take home, but they also give you additional tips and tricks as well. On our other ships that don't have the arts kitchen, they do still do culinary experiences. They actually do tours throughout the ship executive kitchens and also do sort of cooking seminars as well. A big part of Regent is our curated art collection that we have. So on any one ship, you will have in excess of 1.5 million US dollar art collection. You can do self-guided walking tours throughout the ship. We've got Renoirs, we've got beautiful Picassos, so they are originals. If you're ever on board Seven Seas Explorer and you go outside the Regent suite, there's actually a Picasso on either side of the main suite doors. But it's just a fantastic way to also be able to enjoy. If clients sail with us regularly, we also change out the artwork as well. So you can always have a different curated art tour at any given time. When it comes to our suites, so we are all balcony, all suite ships. We don't have inside cabins with our solo clients. They don't have a dedicated single bed solo suite. They're the same suite as everybody else. Our lead-in suites are 28 square meters, which is larger than most hotel rooms. And our largest suite on our Regent suite is 413 square meters. Yes, that's 413. It's bigger than my house. But ultimately, it's all about, again, giving people, that ultimate experience, that space. If, they're into playing their piano. We have a grand piano in the Regent Suite, and we've got 4 different mini grand pianos through the various other top suites as well. But again, there's no compromise to space. Out of the New Zealand market, some of our top sellers are our beautiful concierge suites that start at 32 square metres. They all have their own mini bars that are replenished throughout every day. If you, you only drink a particular type of soft drink, non-alcoholic, our team will go through and they'll make sure that that's catered for you and replenished throughout the voyage. If you enjoy a particular type of gin, you just need to let your room attendant know, and they will make sure that that is what is put in your suite. Again, there is no surcharge. We don't do spirits by the mini bottle. We actually give you a proper bottle. So again, you can enjoy as and when you like. All of the suites are incredibly well presented and appointed. They all have walk-in wardrobes, so there's plenty of space, gents, to hang your shirts, your shorts, and place your shoes as well. One thing that I do love about our concierge and superior suites is the beds all face out onto the balconies. Otherwise, if you're just wanting to sit in sort of the leading category, our deluxe veranda suite, so this is 28 square metres, so this just gives you an idea. When I sailed with my mum, we actually shared a suite this size, so we did a twin, and they split the bed, and there is still plenty of room to get around. And then you've got fantastic lounge area, there's a desk, you've got the mini bar fridge, and then obviously you've got this the very spacious balcony that you can enjoy as well. Ultimately for us, we're more than just a bedroom, we're more than just a couple of restaurants and areas. It's giving you maximum space to enjoy. I guess let's talk about now, where do we sail? So we sail to over 550 destinations around the world. We do the Arctic to Antarctica and everywhere in between. We go to Antarctica, we're not an expedition ship. We go down to the peninsula, we spend a number of days there. What makes us different is we don't do boots on the ground. And we're finding we're getting a lot of people who aren't necessarily able to do expedition, and they don't want to do expedition because they don't want to be sort of left out going, oh, you're still on board. Or we've got a lot of people who are sort of more eco focused, who still want to experience the region, and so they're being able to enjoy that. Ultimately, for all of our voyages, we actually follow the sun as well. So that means that we maximise our time whilst we're in shore in any one of our destinations. Regent, we have over 68% of our clientele is repeat. And with that, that means we need to ensure that we're always ahead of the curve by our guests on what they're wanting to do and experience. So we're always wanting to make sure we maximise not only their time whilst they're on board the ship, but also whilst they're out in the destinations as well. And that starts before they even embark on board the ship. So we include pre and post land programs as additional options. This just gives you an idea, a beautiful 3-night Tokyo option. At present, Japan is a hot commodity, same as the likes of Iceland. So many people are wanting to go there and experience the destination. I get a lot of people say availability is really tricky, or you're lucky if you can get just a hotel room for under $1,000 a night. Here, you're looking at a package which works out to be about $1,800 per person. That's 3 nights accommodation. We give you breakfast. You've got some amazing shore excursions and experience to temples, to shrines over those 3 days. And then we also include the transfers either to or from the ship as well. But all through our itineraries, you've got anything from 2, 3, 4, and 6 night pre-post and also mid-cruise programs. So even if you're looking at maybe South America, Africa, if you're looking at doing India, we actually have a gorgeous program which takes you to the Taj Mahal. But when it comes to shore excursions, as I said, ours are unlimited, but we also make sure that they're tailored really well for our clients. So you can do anything from our unlimited included shore excursions. On average, there's at least 15 shore excursions on any one port. Clients can pre-book, so you can go through, you can select pre-book prior to your embarkation. And then even if you're on board, if you want to change your mind, do something else, if you meet some people and want to do something together, then you can, it's not a problem. We also include additional specialty shore excursions. We've got ones such as Behind the Designs, and that's where we take you to iconic and unique either landmarks or buildings. You have a historian and an architect who will teach you about literally the design and the history behind the bricks and mortar and what makes that building unique. We've got Regent Shore Choice excursions, which literally is doing everything from helicopter experiences, or you can do your own executive collection bespoke, do your private tours. We do include a shipboard credit on a number of our sailings, so you can utilise that as well. If you're really wanting to focus on the Epicurean side, we've got a number of culinary experiences too. Or if you're all about wellness, we have a huge genre of the most amazing wellness programs that you can choose from. I just thought I'd give you an idea just of a couple of the itineraries that we have and how Regent actually chooses our itineraries. One of our first ones, and has been very popular for us, is actually London to Antwerp. And this itinerary actually goes up through the Norwegian fjords, and it maximises every opportunity in every port. To me, if it's a region that you're looking at experiencing, there's no other way to literally do the destination. It's also a very expensive destination to go and experience. So it's the best way to do it. My boss, Lisa Pyle, recently did this with her mum, and she absolutely loved it. She said just the flora, the fauna, the experiences that he had all throughout the fjords was just absolutely amazing. She also said that she did spend a few dollars in Antwerp buying a diamond, not sure exactly what it was, but she said it was absolutely fabulous. So for us, it's really going off to unique, off the beaten track destinations and hard to get to as well. The way that Regent also designs a lot of our voyages is we do what we call back-to-back. So where you see understand signs on our itineraries, it means that you can actually combine them. So you can do a sailing for a lot longer. And on average, out of New Zealand, we're finding that a lot of clients are doing about a 32 to 34 night itinerary with us. So with this one, a lot of people roam to Amsterdam will quite often do that overland. But for us, if clients are doing that sort of destination the second time round, you can actually go around the coast, but you can do it also at a slower pace, so even if it's some of the destinations maybe you've visited before. And as I said, we've got a lot of overnight stays as well, so it really maximises your time there. If you're interested in doing, sort of iconic rail journeys and then combining it with cruise, with this one you could do the Orient Express, say from Paris to Istanbul, and then you could embark on beautiful Seven Seas Splendor and then do a lovely 13-night sailing from Istanbul to Venice throughout some of the most idyllic ports there are in the Mediterranean. As I said, we have a lot of repeat clients, so it's also creating unique experiences. So we launched last year what we call our Spotlight Voyages. And these are really unique sailings where we picked our Epicurean Perfection Plus, our culinary program. So whilst you're on board, you've got lots of dining options, everything from Compass Rose, which is our main dining room, open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. That does amazing a la carte. You have La Veranda, which is our buffet restaurant that we have on the aft of all of our ships. In the evening, it turns into Sette Mare, which means 7 oceans in Italian. And then they have just the most amazing antipasto buffet that you can choose from too. Prime 7, you've got our classic American steakhouse, Chartreuse, which is our French infused restaurant. And then we've got Pacific Rim, which is our Asian infused restaurant on our Explorer class ship. And I have to say, the 6-course degustation dinner that you can do is absolutely sublime. Or if you've just had a really busy day out doing shore excursions, then you've got something again late afternoon, you can have our Pill Grill, which does amazing burgers, salads, grilled fish, and that's open from 11 in the morning until about 4 in the afternoon as well. So that is our gourmet restaurants, but from there, as I said, we created what we call our Epicurean Spotlight Voyages. So we started with 12 last year, and these are hosted by vintners, artisans, literally the creme de la creme of the culinary industry. And they're hosting these different voyages that will give you an additional experience, insight to whether it's wines, whether it's a culinary food experience, which just obviously creates a whole new dynamic and dimension to your experience. One of the ones I thought I'd share was our Tokyo return, which has been very popular. So this is the end of March next year, cherry blossom season. But the nice thing with this is, even though it is paired with our friends from Sinvital Vineyards, where they go through and they curate different wine tastings. They also do sake tastings and whiskey as well. But they then also pair it with culinary experiences, everything from sashimi through to sushi, teppanyaki, but also through when you're in Shanghai, they do an amazing degustation experience too. So these are things that you don't pay additional for, but it just creates a whole new dynamic to your cruising experience. And then when we had Fabergé as a world partnership that we've created, so we have our very own Fabergé, which is Journey of the Jewels, which is curated, and she actually lives on Seven Seas Granger. And we had Sarah Fabergé, who was the granddaughter of Sir Peter Cowell, hosted actually a voyage just in July of last year. But again, it gives a whole new history and dynamic and education for guests to experience about Fabergé and our partnership with it. For those sporting enthusiasts, we also have a partnership with Aston Martin, with Aramco Racing. So we have none other than Pedro Della Rosa, the obviously famous Formula One driver. He is hosting a beautiful voyage on Splendor, Barcelona to Monaco, going through his home of Barcelona for 10 nights. And again, you're going to learn about not only Formula One racing, high performance, but it creates, again, a once-in-a-lifetime experience to literally meet one of the legends of Formula One. And then we also look at, for those who maybe want to cruise, but they don't necessarily want to experience, a lot of sea days. So earlier this year, we launched our Immersive Overnight. And this program is about spending more time in port, but still giving you, obviously, the cruise experience. And here's a little snapshot to give you an idea.
Discover an enriching.
Hopefully you can hear that.
Experience that shines a light on incredible destinations after dark. Introducing our Immersive Overnights. Voyages that allow more time ashore with an overnight stay in every port. Celebrate the dazzling sights of the Mediterranean under the sun and later under the stars. Immerse yourself in the timeless charm of Northern Europe from dusk until dawn. Witness the captivating allure of Asia's ancient wonders and watch its modern marvels light up the night sky. All while enjoying the unrivaled experience aboard the world's most luxurious fleet.
So this just gives you an idea of some of the immersive overnight itineraries that we have. So as I said, it's all about being able to experience cruising, but not necessarily spending more time at sea. It's spending more time in the destinations. So with these voyages, you've got overnights in every single port. And again, as I said, with our unlimited shore excursions, it means that you're able to do as many shore excursions, be as busy as you like. Or if you've got a port, maybe you've been there before and you want to go off and do your own experience, you've got that option and opportunity to do so as well. But the nice thing is with a lot of the itineraries that we've picked, they're ones where you can go off and self-explore and enjoy yourself. What we do and have included is there's 26 new, what we call dedicated evening excursions, which otherwise you wouldn't normally experience. So as I said, if maybe you've been to some of the destinations before, not necessarily by cruise, or you're looking at cruising for the first time, but you're not necessarily wanting to spend a lot of time on the ship or at sea, it gives you the best of both worlds. And then we've also got clients who love going to Alaska or want to go to Alaska, and they also want to do the Rocky Mountaineer. So we've created a partnership where we actually do beautiful rail and sea complimentary itinerary. And we've got a number of dedicated departures where you do 6-night Rocky Mountaineer pre-cruise, and then you've got the option to add on a 7 or a 14-night itinerary. I often liken Alaska to Africa. It's a destination a lot of people will only go to maybe once, so go and do it really, really well. So my pick is ultimately go and do 6 nights and then the 14-night round trip Vancouver, because this is where you ultimately will get the experience of the whole region. With Vancouver return, you actually do different ports going north versus coming south. So even though you're coming back on yourself, you're not going to double up on the ports at all. And as I said, you've got so many shore excursions and experiences that you can choose from. Quite a few people do ask Tracey, when is the best time to go to Alaska? My answer is always, it depends on whether you want to see skinny bears or you want to see fat bears. If you want to see skinny bears, then go earlier in the season, which is sort of April, May. If you want to see fat bears after they've literally spent the summer foraging and enjoying all that salmon and berries, then definitely go in your sort of August, September time. But Ron can definitely help you with that. As I said, otherwise you can do just 14-night return. You don't need to necessarily do the Rocky Mountaineer, but it's just one of those destinations, as I said, if you're going to do it really well and just do all of the ports. That's one of my favourites. I also just sort of share, quite often people do talk about being luxury, all-inclusive, and the price point. So I did a price comparison based on Alaska and with one of our premium cruise lines that is in the market. So as you can see, the cruise fare that you pay up front, yes, with Regent, it is more. But then by the time you add on the shore excursions that you're going to do, and this isn't shore excursions in every port that I did for the premium brand, by the time you add on your beverages, and it's not saying that, you drink a lot of alcoholic beverages, but for $5 US a bottle of water, for $5 for a cup of coffee, it soon adds up and you're going to have more than one coffee and water a day. But then also specialty dining, you've got Wi-Fi. Then if you're doing purchases in the boutiques, if you've got transfers, by the time you've actually added all of that up, you've paid more than what the Regent Cruise was to start with. But also when you break it down on a per dime per day, again, you can see literally what your spend is. So I always say to people, just because it seems cheaper up front, think of all the hidden costs that you haven't thought of, but you will add. Because by the time that you actually disembark your other crew, you would have well and truly paid for an all-inclusive brand. So always look at the value of what you're going to be doing as opposed to the price point up front. And here's a little taster on your 26 and 27 degrees.
Experience a tapestry of colours aboard the world's most luxurious fleet. Our 6 ships will sail more than 100 voyages during the 2026 to 2027 season, including 4 new grand voyages, a first ever world cruise aboard Seven Seas Splendor, and more overnight calls on your favourite ports than ever before. And that is only the beginning of what's inside our voyage collection debut. 100 plus new itineraries, 6 luxurious all-suite ships, 16 new to Regent ports, 4 grand voyages, 8 immersive overnight voyages, 550 destinations, 7 continents. Get ready to embark on an adventure punctuated by unrivaled service, Epicurean perfection, and the luxury of all-inclusive comfort aboard Regent Seven Seas cruises.
So for those of you who are like, yes, I wouldn't mind doing a world cruise. So as it said, it's on beautiful Seven Seas Splendor. It is Miami to New York, and it's 140 nights, departing on the 11th of January. This is just a snapshot of the itinerary itself. So there's 3 oceans that are cruised, there's 16 seas, straits, gulfs, bays and channels that are cruised, 6 continents, there's 40 countries, 71 ports of call, 14 overnight stays, 61 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, 486 included shore excursions. It's 35,668 nautical miles sailed, and I'm sure someone will find a partridge in a pear tree along the way. To give you an idea, this itinerary, it works out at present, it's about $1,400 per person per day, all inclusive. Again, look at the value proposition as opposed to the price point, and you'll be amazed the amount of people that we currently have at present, and there is 11 bookings where we've got clients who have never sailed before, and they're sailing on a world cruise with Regent as their first time experience. So again, look at the opportunities, look at the different value propositions, but there's definitely a cruise line for everybody. I really do hope that you've enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to hopefully welcoming you on board sometime soon. If you are a single traveller, we do look after you as well. We've got a number of itineraries that have got no supplements. So again, we've got dedicated cruise director who looks after our solo guests. We, on average, get between 12 and about 20 guests who are all solo travellers. So to be honest, you'll be single in a sense for a short period of time, but definitely go through to Ron because he's always got details for you. And then if you're celebrating an unforgettable moment or a significant birthday, anniversary, we always like to celebrate those milestones with you. So if it's a birthday that ends in a 0 or a 5, or if it's an anniversary and it's 3 months either side of your voyage, we give you a US $750 shipboard credit, which you can utilise for anything from a unique personalised city tour. If you're wanting to have literally a day drinking Dom Perignon, you can, or if you're wanting to literally just spend a day in the spa, you've got that opportunity to, that's how you spend your dollars. Otherwise, the cruise fare that you pay up front is the fare that you pay. It's very hard to spend your own money once you've paid for your cruise fare. But otherwise, thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you on board soon.
Thank you so very much, Tracey. Lovely. Now, there are a few questions that have come through, which is great to see. So I'm going to, it's just disappeared. Lovely. So the first question was, is laundry included on all cruises? This was the favorite part of this, favorite part of the last cruise that this person asking has, that was a comment they had.
Yes.
So that's great.
So we include valet laundry on all suites and all categories. So as I said at the beginning of the presentation, whether you're sailing for 7 nights or you're doing a 140-night cruise, valet laundry is included. So you can put your washing out on average first thing in the morning before you go off and do your shore excursion, and then once you come back in the afternoon, your laundry will be there.
Amazing. Lovely. Next question. Regarding the back-to-back cruises that you showcased earlier, is there a discount if you have a series of them all the way through?
Yes, there is. So you will have what we call a back-to-back discount. And then also you will get once you've sailed your first cruise, then you will become a past guest. So you'll then have a past guest discount that will also be applied.
Lovely, lovely. Brilliant. So the World Cruise for 2027, is that on sale now?
Yes.
Wow.
So that came on sale on, Megan, help me out, in 25th June this year. So if you like, I can send you Ron through some links, but you can definitely go online and you can book it now.
Marvelous. Lovely. And so regarding, I guess, building your own world cruise with back-to-back cruising, the particular ships, are they going to be mostly following, like, would you have the same ship that's going to go perhaps Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, back and forth, or are they actually going to continually sail around the world? Do you have certain ships in certain regions only?
So if you do the dedicated world cruise, you're on the same ship for the duration. So Splendor, when she does her voyage, she literally is doing Miami to New York. But if you do what we call some of our unique grand voyages, that means that you might be on one ship for, say, 43 nights, and then you might transfer and go onto another ship and you could be there for 61 nights. So it just really depends. But we have a lot of clients who they will mix and match and create their own world voyages, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's likely where I'll end up here, there, and everywhere. So, Marlis, there's another question that's come through, and it's just, how do I apply for the bonus for a wedding anniversary? Now, I would say there'll be a way. It depends on how you book, I assume. If somebody were booking that through me, I would go through and get that sorted.
Yeah, absolutely. So when they make your booking with you, you just need to let us know that what the anniversary is, and then that will just get applied, and that goes through until the 30th of September.
Marvelous. Great. Now, one thing that was the statistics around the size of the ship and the passenger numbers. So you had 754 on a ship that would hold, if it was your way of doing it, about to 2,000 people. What do you
Yes.
find, as far as the client experience, or the guest experience on board, what are some of the flow-on effects, the beneficial flow-on effects of having this really really beautiful staff to guest ratio?
It's a more personalized experience. And clients have, and that's one thing that we get all the time from guests, is that they just love how personalized our crew are. There's a lot of our past guests who will only sail on particular ships because of the crew, and they've got to know the crew. So it's more of an intimate experience as well. But also the nice thing is, because you've got more space, clients can go and be in a different area. You don't have a lot of people. There's no queuing. So even when it comes to our shore excursion, it's a very relaxed style process, where clients can go and sit in the coffee club and have their morning coffee, and then they'll be called to go and, disembark for their shore excursion. So I guess it's people can come and go as they please. It's the same as with the dining experience as well. You can pre-book your dinner reservations, but then also there's enough space at a lot of our restaurants for clients to make last minute bookings. In our theatres, so we have evening productions each evening. Clients don't have to feel that they have to rush dinner to get to the theatre, because there's a seat for every guest on board the ship in each theatre. So, again, it's just very orderly, and it's just very relaxed and personalised.
Marvelous, marvelous. I guess it was nice to see that you had that price breakdown that you had revealed as well. One of the things that understand, and I do talk to my clients about, is even the mental tax of being in a situation where you're trying to calculate, okay, what's this going to be worth, or having, perhaps in the conversation I'll have I'll have this, that, and the other, and then having somebody, they'll go, oh, are you aware it's this price, or do you need to check on this? And just being able to order what you want and not have that mental tax and not have that interruption of your experience is really brilliant. And so that all-inclusive element is extremely valuable for the emotional and the mental benefits of being on a cruise. Yeah,
absolutely. I think one of the nicest things is all guests disembark Regent, and they disembark happy because they're not leaving going, oh my gosh, it costs how much on your final bill. But also, even though we're a luxury brand, we actually don't, and I constantly tell people this all the time, we actually don't have a hierarchy, we don't have a status on board, because everything is included. So guests aren't walking around with colour-coded room keys. They're not walking around with Diamante lanyards that tells you that, they're a platinum, guest. So everybody is exactly the same. And we always have a going joke that anybody on the ship can shout the whole ship a round of drinks, because obviously, it's all included. And that's why we find that it's just, a lot of like-minded, really relaxed clients that are on board, because you literally do not have that status.
marvelous. Do you have any, and I'll ask you each in your turn, but Tracey, starting with you, do you have any last sort of top of mind tips that didn't fit into your normal presentation that you might give to anybody?
One of my top tips ultimately is, I've got two actually. So again, if you find that there's an itinerary, there's a destination, there's a cruise that you're wanting to do, don't always look at the price first and foremost. Like, again, look at the value, look at the experiences that you're going to get, because quite often a cheaper option is not going to give you the once in a lifetime experiences, something that all-inclusive will. But then also something completely different is, when it comes to cruising, quite often everybody on the first evening is always busy rushing to embark and find where they are on the ship, and quite often experience whether it's a specialty dining or something. Wait until later in the cruise for that. On the first night, especially with Regent, just actually enjoy your suite. You can do in-room dining, and you can do it by course if you like. It means that you can unpack, you can relax, and you can actually enjoy sailing out of the port that you're in and actually get straight into the relaxed cruise mode, as opposed to constantly rushing around with everybody else on the first night. That's me.
Great. And how about you, Megan?
Mine would be to book in advance, to book early, right? That's the key. Where Tracey's mentioned the world's cruise being on sale to 2027. We're releasing 2026 as we speak. So we're coming out earlier than ever before. But cruises sell from the top down. The best cabins go first, the suites go first. So, and the other part is don't wait till you've got it. You're going to Europe. The air will come. The land and the accommodation will always be there. The cruise, if you go and try and book the air first and then book the cruise, you're often trying to fit it in with the dates that don't work. To do it the other way around, book the cruise, lock that in, and then build the rest around that as well. And look at those terms and conditions. You might be booking for 2026, but with us, our deposits are fully refundable. So if the unexpected happens, you've got the ability to change and move those sailing dates too.
Yeah, marvelous. That very much fits a message that I'm trying to put out to the market all the time, is that you need to start with your pinnacle thing, the reason you're traveling, because the last thing you want to do is impulsively buy some flights and find out the cruise ends a day after your return flight or any such. Things go sideways like that all the time. So we don't need that. So yeah, definitely go with your pinnacle items first. And with the early booking, what we're really finding since COVID is that people that it used to be that we had the biggest market, traveling market, which would be really North America, that they were always booking a lot later. And so the New Zealand market would get in there, get the cabins they want, and everything would flow on. Now the Americans are booking a lot earlier, and we are getting what's left, and that's not a happy place for us.